Are you running Performance Max? Do you love it or do you hate it? Whichever side of the fence you're on, you're going to love this episode of T.E.A Talks, as that's exactly what we're going to get into. Let's do it. Right, Colin, we've got a really fun one today. We're going into Performance Max and we're going to look at whether we love it. We're going to discuss whether we love it or whether we hate it. This is going to be so much fun.
New kid on the block, eh?
Yeah, well, you say that. It's been, I mean, how long has it been out now? A couple of years?
Yeah, so I think at this point where it is, I would say it's quite established, but yes. So within the last, say, 2.5 years, it has really grew in prominence.
Yeah, it has. And, you know, I think this whole idea of love it or hate it is such an interesting one, because I think it's fair to say we've probably gone from one extreme to the other with this, as I think a lot of marketers have. And we know that all of our clients, and we know a lot of brands in one form or another are going to be using Performance Max, particularly if they're e-commerce.
It's unavoidable. It's unavoidable. I think whatever you do, because first of all, what is really Performance Max? So if we just look at it, if we just zoom out, it's the entire inventory of Google Ads, which is held in one place. So whichever ads you are serving, whether it's search, display, shopping, maps, or Gmail even, it can all be controlled with Performance Max. So whatever your bag is, you can really use Performance Max to your advantage.
You can. Come on then. Right. So let's get into and discuss. Firstly, let's start with the goods. What do we love? What do we love about Performance Max? Kick us off.
Performance Max is this nice little lovable thing because it's simple. It's simple.
Is it?
Well, one of the biggest misconceptions is that it is
with a massive
simple.
Asterisk. Simple, sort of, yeah.
So the account management can be very much simplified with Performance Max because what we do is we just create a single campaign which can serve so many different placements and so many different parts of the inventory. Yeah, and this is where people think, oh yeah, we're going to love this one, because all you do, you just set it, forget it, off you go, and then you're off to the races, because all of a sudden your ad starts becoming, starts appearing in searches, it starts remarketing because of the display and so on. So the simplicity of it, it's as beautiful as it can be deceiving. So I do love the simplicity of Performance Max because it really can save a lot of time. But then let's caveat that with if you know what you are doing. Yeah, because otherwise,
there's your caveat, there's your asterisk in as well.
Yeah.
The other thing that we do love about it is the audience signals. Yes. Right? Just give us what are they and why do we love them?
Audience signals is one of the most powerful options within Performance Max because it's automated, it's machine learning, and it's machine driven, which means that every single piece of input that we input into Performance Max is going to give us an equal output, if you like. So
it's kind of a new feature of Performance Max.
It is, yes.
It's when Performance Max came out, audiences was part of this new thing we've now got to play with. It's taken a lot of the same stuff we've always had, but it's kind of repackaged it, hasn't it?
It's repackaged it, but also it's simplified it in a way that actually it became slightly more cleverer, if you like, with what the audience signals are, because you take your first party data, then combined with Google own data, which essentially then creates that advantage above other campaign types, because it just then knows who to show your ads to, and this is where the audience signals become so much more powerful, and you can just feed all the data you've got, and then let Google do its thing.
So as well as the audience signals, the other thing we love about it is the assets, because you can chuck in as many assets as you want into a campaign, and you've got multiple assets, haven't you?
And the beauty of it is that actually you can set your audience signals per asset group, which means that if you are promoting your product towards a very specific group of people, you can then very easily and very, very nicely actually package it all up. So let's say if you are selling mowers of certain brand that are performing best, and then that certain demographics is most likely to buy it, and you are competing against a very specific brand, you can put all that into your asset group. So,
and just to say for anyone watching this, what assets? What do you mean by assets? Assets, images, titles,
descriptions, headlines, all that good stuff.
All of the elements that you're going to want to give the machine so that it can spit them out effectively onto the search results to showcase your product, your service, whatever it is. That's what we're talking about when we talk about asset management and the ability to upload different assets per audience signal, essentially what we're saying is just it's the images, it's everything you feed into the system that it can then use to push out onto the search results pages.
All the creative stuff.
It's all the creative, also,
on the top of assets, you've also got an ability to be able to customize your call to action. And for example, you can also include your HTML5 in there if you want to make your ads even more dynamic. So it is a very powerful feature.
It is. And the big part of Performance Max, which again, we've come to love over time, is the automation and the machine learning.
Yes.
Isn't it? And that's got better. I mean, Google themselves have almost kind of acknowledged that when it came out, it felt like when Performance Max first came out, it wasn't a product ready for market.
It really wasn't.
And it's got a lot better. And they've done so many updates to it over the last couple of years. And now we're increasingly loving the machine learning, the automation.
The machine learning, yes. But just to touch upon that, I think one of the biggest advantages of machine learning is then the attribution and conversions, because machine will be able to churn a lot of data much quicker than we ever will. So it means that practically in real time, it can really quickly just reassess who is most likely to convert using that data, and then you can then attribute to which campaign type it was.
The thing, as we've said before on T.E A Talks, with the conversions though, big caveat again, make sure you're feeding the right conversions in, because Performance Max is that conversion hungry machine algorithm automation. So it wants those conversions. So if you're feeding the right conversions in and it can get enough of them, you're off to the races.
Exactly that.
But if you're feeding the wrong conversions in, then, and it's if you've got the right conversion and there's something else that maybe you don't want, it's going to go where the volume is. And so you can very quickly find yourself getting lots of conversions that on paper looks great, but actually it's not working for you as a business, as a brand.
No, exactly that.
So you've got to be careful, and that's just a big thing that, again, make sure you're feeding in the right types of conversions. Anything else that we particularly love about Performance Max?
I think one of the things that I absolutely adore about Performance Max is how scalable it can be.
Yeah.
Because you can go for, you can very quickly go from your search ads to your shopping ads, and you can very quickly call what doesn't work, and you don't necessarily have to wait for for that entire learning period to pass.
Yeah.
You will very quickly see how easily and how quickly your campaign is performing.
There you go. So we've said all the good stuff. We've said all the stuff we love. Now let's move on to the bits that we hate. The parts, and there are quite a few things that we hate. I mean, hate's a strong word, but with this, love and hate. So things we hate about Performance Max. The first one has got to be the flip side of what we love about it, which is there is a really low barrier to entry.
Incredibly
which
low.
Makes it so that people without the experience think that I can just do that. It's plug and play. It's set and forget. No, it's not. And that is a problem. That's what we don't like about it, isn't it?
Absolutely. And we see that with so many clients that we are inheriting from other agencies, that it was very often set up just to be what you said, set and forget. And this is one of the biggest problem, because you see, people think that yes, with machine learning, the machine is going to do all the work and all the optimizations for them, but you still have to go in and optimize it. So you need to have that expert level of optimization to be able to understand what you have to optimize.
And you still need that commercial understanding, because as I say, a machine, it's as stupid as it is smart, in as much as it will go on what you are feeding it, what's in the box. So if you're feeding the wrong conversions, or if you haven't set up in the right way, or if you're giving it the wrong signals, it's going to run with those all day long and keep spending your money and not worry about the return, or the return might within the system itself look like it's a great return. But actually, commercially as a business, and we've seen that, as you say, with the accounts of Heritage, they go, the numbers look great and the reports I'm getting from my agency look like on paper this should be amazing, but I'm looking at the money in the till and it's just not stacking up.
No.
We look at it and we go, because the thing's been set and forget. It's on full autopilot and it's just not working.
Precisely. And I think one of the biggest advantages of Performance Max is that you can either set your target ROAS, or you can set your maximize conversion value. And I think very often, because it's a business goal that agencies are being heard, we want high return on ad spend. So they're like, let's go for target ROAS of 900. And all of a sudden, we are seeing that, yes, Performance Max is going to go after those very high converting, but very low value products. And then suddenly, yes, the ad spend, the ROAS is phenomenal, but then all of a sudden, the business is hardly, breaking even.
The other thing we hate about it, higher cost.
Very.
There just isn't. I can't think of a client that we're working on where the cost of acquisition, if we look at the core, the numbers that matter most, and we compare Performance Max to, say, a smart shopping.
Yes.
It is just increase. It is more expensive. There is no getting away from it.
Absolutely not, and that also ties in with the low barrier to entry because competition is much higher. So
because more people are doing it. Google, we know, have also whacked up their prices. So and more people are turning to paid media for a quick. We can run Performance Max on full automation, and all of these things end up that we are seeing the cost to acquire a customer. It is increasing, and Performance Max is very, very good, but it almost comes at a bit of a premium, I think.
It really does.
So we are seeing a potentially higher cost, aren't we?
We are seeing higher cost. Yes. Which is obviously quite natural, I think, with this kind of campaign because it's very popular, and as we said earlier, there is a low barrier to entry, so a lot more people will be trying to do it.
And also, I mean, just generally, if you look at how paid ads and just generally how the whole digital sort of landscape, it's getting more expensive. Yeah. Life's getting more expensive. Everything's getting more expensive. Our mortgages are getting more expensive.
Exactly.
Like your shopping bills getting more expensive. Google Ads is Google Ads is the same. Meta Ads are the same. Everything is getting more expensive because frankly, the market's becoming increasingly saturated, which is why to get a return and to make it work, very doable. Our clients get incredible returns. But you've got to have that level of experience, that expertise to be able to go in and sweat the small stuff and really optimize the account and not just leave it on autopilot. You need to be going to town with those audience signals, with those building out those assets. We've said it on other T Talks, but putting the minimum number of assets into an asset group is not going to cut it.
No, absolutely.
Doing the minimum just doing the minimum on any element of Performance Max is not going to cut it, and just doing the basics again is just not gonna work.
No.
The other thing we hate about it. Lack of control.
Yeah, it is so much of it out there as well because we know what it's feeding. It feeds the search and display and shopping and so on. However, we cannot control that on the same level of granularity as we would with other type of campaigns. Yeah. So Performance Max is going to create all those campaigns for us and it's going to obviously just push the inventory out, but we don't know really which of those campaigns type really works really well unless we go into a proper advanced mode and we start using things like scripts. And
of which we have several that we use regularly. So if you need the advanced slicing and dicing, we're only a phone call away.
Exactly that.
but you're absolutely right. And it is a bit of a, Google Ads has always been, it's a bit of a black box, right? Yeah, we don't know what's in it. Performance Max is almost a black box within a black box, isn't it really? Because you just don't know how it's working, or you can find it, but it's a little bit more difficult. They want you to just take a bit of a bird's eye view and go, yeah, this is great, isn't it looking wonderful? And actually, well, what's working within it? Which placements, which audience, what's working better? It's got better. As marketers, we're getting a little bit more insight, I guess.
We do, yes.
Than we had maybe a year or two ago, but it's still not as good as it was, pre-Performance Max when you could look at standard shopping, smart shopping, etc. It's just not there yet.
Yeah, and the thing is that with the level of sophistication of Performance Max, our sophistication as marketers is growing as well, which is quite.
We're learning with it. It's that's the great thing about this space. Why we love it is because constantly innovating, constantly having to sort of push on, and I think. Within that, it brings us to the last point that we wanted to just discuss on what we hate about it is that there is this huge learning curve.
Incredibly high
and it just means that, and again, I guess we say we hate it because it's constantly evolving and Google keep moving the goalpost, don't they?
They do.
It's going to work like this. Oh, actually, no, it's going to work like that.
Yeah, and it's crazy because things like, for example, ad placements and so on, it's becoming a lot more blurred, and without those proper scripts and very advanced sort of slicing and dicing, we can't tell for sure how it works. And I think learning with Performance Max actually is a daily occurrence because I wouldn't say that things do change daily, but the way things...
Feels like it sometimes, doesn't it?
Well, it does feel like that, yeah, but the way things kind of evolve within this space change daily. So for example, if we look at things like product listings and then suddenly, we can see that cost per action then works much better than target ROAS and so on. And then suddenly you need to just get yourself to that position where you just almost have to test pretty much weekly.
Yeah, exactly that. So there you go. That's what we love and hate about Performance Max. What do you love and hate about Performance Max? We'd love to know. Let us know in the comments and we'll see you on the next T Talk. Take care.